And welcome to the Comic Corner, your home for comic book news, reviews, and interviews here on the Agents Fandom channel. My name is Damon. I am your host, and I'm joined alongside me today by my good pal, TJ, aka Fat Thor. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning. Good morning. Great to see you. Great to see everybody out there watching and listening. If you are out there,
people are out there. You're all out there. Thank you, as always, for tuning in on this lovely morning here on Thursday, day after New Comic Book Day. And if you're here tuning us afterwards here on demand, thank you for tuning in as well. Always appreciated. Let's get into our rundown for today. Everyone. We have an ultimate therapy session. Little would I know, little would I see, little would I expect that one of my favorite books of the week was pretty much just group therapy, TJ. And we'll talk about that. Partners in crime. We have a new duo in the Absolute Universe. It's Wally West and an unexpected friend. But one of the reasons I'm sure a lot of you people are here is that the Scarlet Witch and Vision, are they back together again? We have a new run, TJ, new number one of the Scarlet Witch, the Vision.
you know we love new number ones.
We love our new number ones. Always. Number ones forever. It's essentially a new arc of a Scarlet Witch, and Vision is involved, and I really dug it because as someone who really embraces and enjoys Scarlet Witch lore and Vision lore, West Coast Avengers lore, Steve Orlando very much also appreciates it, and it's great, and I really like it. We'll dive into that, but first, Eisner nominations came out literally like, I don't know, a couple hours after we did our last episode. He's like, darn, there could have been a whole segment we could have done. But Eisner nominations are out. What are Eisner nominations, everyone? It's essentially like the Emmys of comics, the Oscars of comics. It's our big awards, and they do them at San Diego Comic-Con in July every single year. I'm not going to go through every single category because we just don't have time for that. But we'll talk about the categories that, we may be most interested in, starting with Best Continuing Series. TJ, you ready for these nominees? The Department of Truth by James Tynion IV and Martin Simmons. Detective Comics from Ram V, Tom Taylor, Riccardo Federici, Stefano Raphael, Javier Fernandez, Christian Dulce, Marsh, and Michael Yanin. Ryan North and Carlos Gomez's Fantastic Four is nominated. The Santos Sisters by Greg and Faye Graham Smith, Dave Landsberger from Floating World, Ultimate Spider-Man, Jonathan Hickman, Marco Cicchetto, and Tom King and Daniel Sempere's Wonder Woman. We're both just gonna be pulling for Ultimate Spider-Man, I assume, right? Like that's both of our picks. Yeah.
Ultimate Spider-Man, or sorry, my brain doesn't work today. The one you said before, Ultimate Spider-Man.
Fantastic Four, Ryan North.
Yes, I think Fantastic Four is Ryan North. I would not be upset if that won at all. I think his Fantastic Four has been so good. I'm behind pretty much since the start of Doom War, but it's so good. So, I mean, those are all, I wouldn't be really mad with any of those.
Best new series. You ready for this one? You're gonna have. We're gonna be.
I'm ready, dude.
Absolute
this is one.
Batman. Scott Snyder, Nick Dragotta. Absolute Wonder Woman. Kelly Thompson, Hayden Sherman. Jeff Lemire's Minor Arcana. Kieran Gillen and Casper Wingard's The Power Fantasy. Tony Fleeks and Dave Wagner's Uncanny Valley. And this is for you, my friend. Joe Esposito, Sean Von Gorman's The Pedestrian. Nominated for Eisner, Best New Series. I know you're going to pick that one.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm going to pick that one. But again, I mean, it's a great list. And also shout out to friend of the show, Tony Fleece, for Uncanny Valley. That is also, we haven't covered that in a little bit. I gotta go back and look at the release dates for that because we were loving that book.
Yes.
But I mean, it's just, if I can just nerd out for a moment on a personal note, it's just so great to see Joey Esposito and Sean Von Gorman's Pedestrian make it onto the Eisners. We have had them on the show twice now. And anyone who caught that episode and kind of learned a little bit about Joey and Sean's story, it was a very long road for them to get Pedestrian even made. And not only did they get it made, but it's such a kind of out there idea that I think a lot of people were also kind of like, what is this? And just to see a book from two new creators go so well, and not only go so well, but an idea that is not just your, super person, punching big monsters and bad guys. I think that is just so awesome. I cannot praise those two dudes enough. I cannot give my congratulations to them enough. And I think it's also a good testament. Support new comics. Support, I wouldn't say, I guess, indie kind of from Magma, but yeah, take a chance on some new comics, because you see they result in some of the best work out there. So again, shout out Sean and Joey. It's so awesome. They obviously have my vote, and I also urge everyone to go check out Pedestrian. Obviously,
there's so many categories in this Eisner Awards. We're just going to do one more Best Writer nominations. Tom King for Archie, The Decision, Animal Pound, Helen of Windorn, Jenny Sparks, The Penguin, and Wonder Woman. Ram V, Rare Flavors, Dawn Runner, The One Hand, Universal Monsters, Creature of the Black Lagoon. Really dug that one. James Tiny in the fourth for Something's Killing the Children. Wind, The Blue Book, Oddly Pedestrian Life of Christopher Chaos, Spectrograph, so many more. World Tree, Zhen Luan Yang for Lunar New Year Love Story. And look, I have a bias. I won't deny it. Kelly Thompson, Absolute Wonder Woman, Birds of Prey, Scarlet, Venom War. It's Jeff nominated, baby. Look, Kelly's had an incredible 2024. To me, she has to win it. She has to win it for like Absolute Wonder Woman, Birds of Prey, all the Jeff books. Just please. TJ, is that your pick as well from that list?
I mean, yeah, I would definitely go Kelly from that list, but my other pick would be Ram V. I think Ram V is amazing.
Ram V also fantastic. You can't go wrong really with that list. But those are just kind of like the headlines, the treetops of the Eisner Awards. There's so many other awards to be handed out. Those will be during San Diego Comic-Con. Stay tuned for the results of that one. Let's get into some comics. Let's get into, I don't know. Is this your favorite comic of the week too, TJ?
I mean, it pissed me off, but yeah, it was.
Oh, he's angry. His theory's wrong.
I know. I'm selfishly angry. I'm not like it's a great issue.
This is The Ultimates number 12, written by Denny's Camp, artist Juan Frigeri, colorist Federico Blee, letterer Travis Lanham, and editors Michelle Marchese and Will Moss. I joked earlier during the rundown, this is a group therapy session, because it's a group therapy session. They're all coming together, reflecting on the last year, the last 12 months. What I've been loving about these Ultimate books is they essentially kind of reflect a month, a time, little timestamp within the month. We're seeing like a moment in time into these lives, the most important moment of that month. And Tony finally back alive after pretty much dying. We'll get into the weirdness of all of that because it does deal with some of my least favorite aspects of comics and all of it. However, it's still really cool. So Tony's back and he has a conversation with Doom, who is Reed Richards in this universe. Reed Richards is Doom. And he finds out that Doom has been fucking around with time. They do have a time machine. We haven't really touched it since issue 1 or 2. Like we haven't touched it in a while because they kind of agreed, this is too messy. This is too complicated. It's not working. That was Ultimates 1.0. We moved on to Ultimates 2.0, which is just like your standard superhero team. And they got their asses handed to them by Ultimate Hulk, who's just like Maestro on steroids, essentially. It's crazy. If you could imagine Maestro on steroids, because he's already yoked. He's already Hulk. It's crazy. And it turns out that we've been seeing images throughout the last few issues of like, yeah, it's weird. We've been having these dreams that we just died, but we're alive. So that's weird. Maybe we're seeing this like that's the future. No, it turns out they did die. And Doom went back in time to kind of like kept trying to fix everything to get them out of those moments. Time travel, whatever. They then get into a deeper discussion on how Doom has been time traveling like crazy and trying to go so far back in time to essentially prevent the Maker from even doing any of this. And he's like, well, what we've been doing hasn't been working. The superheroing thing, not working. We have 6 months left before this guy who's been in his bubble, the most evil man in any Marvel universe of all time, the most evil person, the Maker, is going to be coming out. We don't know what he's been doing in there. When he comes out, we're screwed and we're not ready yet. But this is proven we're not ready yet. We can't even take down a Hulk. We're not ready. So what do we need to do? Well, we scrap of Ultimates 2.0. We're moving on to Ultimates 3.0. And essentially, long story short, nothing's off the table. Time travel shenanigans? Sure. What I say all the time that you can't stand, that TJ's Large can't stand, that I do it to Carlos as well. You come with me an idea, and I just say, sure. That's their mentality going forward. Nothing is off the table. I appreciate that. And we do know going forward that we are getting like an ultimate Scarlet Witch. We are getting an ultimate Quicksilver. We're getting into the weird. We're getting into the crazy. We're going to get into the bizarre here. So I'm looking forward to that. But to go into the thing that you're a little pissed off about, because while all this is going on, we go back to Nick Fury. And this is like the original Nick Fury with the eye patch, the white guy, the old guy who's just like, grumpy Nick Fury. He's been working for Hand, not Shield, because everything in this universe is a little evil and twisted. He's been working for Hand. And it turns out we've heard about this a while ago, that there's a mole in the Ultimates crew. You speculated, TJ, that it was who?
I said it was Doom, but
you also said it was.
I was gonna say, I don't know if you remember, but I also threw Hank out there, so I wasn't too far off. But man,
not too far off.
Oof,
not too far off. Other people have speculated that it was. Yeah, other people have speculated that it's Jim Hammond, who is the Human Torch, the original Human Torch, the android.
Mm-hmm. That would have been good too.
There's some really cool art because as they're all kind of standing there, as we know that there is a mole, Jim Hammond's standing there right in the middle with like red eyes, being like, "Oh, tell me all your plans." And it's like, "Uh-oh, is it him? It is not him. It is not Doom. It is not Hank Pym. It is Janet Van Dyne, the Wasp, because she always just has to protect as many people as possible, and she thinks this is the only way to protect Hank and herself. So she is the mole. She is working with the Hand, with Nick Fury behind their backs. Now, TJ, I know that reveal miffed you off a little bit because your theory wasn't entirely correct. Do you think we're going to get a double cross scenario?
I would hope so, honestly. And when I say, I just want to make clear to everyone out there, like when I say that I'm pissed, I am just like entirely joking. That was a fantastic reveal. And I also think Denise played it very smart in the sense of Janet's kind of been in the background a little bit. She got her focus on issue 1. And also, if you go back, like in the first couple issues, I think it's Human Torch when like his like little memory thing, like they multiple times specifically say like Janet is like a true hero, like in her heart she's a hero, like she instantly took to the suit, she instantly like just was like, yeah, like let's do this, let's save people. So I feel like he did a really great job, like kind of subtly giving us a connection of like, yeah, Janet's solid, right? And then oh crap, like yeah, where has she been, what has she been doing? And I also think it was a really great issue in the sense of, like you said, we're kind of going through the last year. And I don't know about you, but since I love this series so much, it's like I just enjoy everything that's going on, right? But when they're talking about it, I kind of like in hindsight was like, yeah, in reality, what have the Ultimates actually really done? Like, I
Not
mean, yeah,
much.
they had a success at the White House. They had a success with what's it called? The
The
Red Skulls. They took
Yeah, the
out
Red
the Red
Skulls. Yep.
Skulls. Like, yeah, those are all good things, but in like the grand scheme of taking out the Council and the Maker, they have really done nothing. So I'm, I'm usually a Doom sympathizer, but I think Doom in this instance is kind of right on the money. Like, they have to start trying some more drastic things because they're basically like stopping traffic crime at this point.
There's some fascinating things that they're doing with this Reed Doom, if we will. Also, shout out Captain America in this issue. Also had some really cool things, some really good moments. He's the one who kind of went out and said, "Yeah, Hawkeye and America Chavez are the only ones out here. I feel like are actually doing anything, doing some more grounded, grounded stuff over here. They're the ones really making impact. We're not doing much other than kind of like settling old scores and making sure the body of Namor just kind of gets thrown back out to the sea." But we're not doing much. So he agreed with Doom. Some really cool things are doing with Doom visually. His eyes kind of go back between a blue and a green. They kind of change color a little bit here and there, reflecting maybe a little bit of Doom, maybe a little bit of Reed. But with the amount of time travel we're getting, and if you remember back in that Ultimate Invasion chaos where there was a Kang involved in that.
I was just about to say, who else is green, Damon? And I know not
Exactly.
blue, but
We do know a Kang is involved in that. It's possible that this Redoom could be a Redoom Kang, right? Like
redo game.
he's
Say that
been
5 times
screwing with
fast.
time travel so much he's been screwing with time travel that it just kind of makes sense in that regard. So
What if
there's an
Kang is
avenue
Hank?
as well. Yeah, there you go.
That'd be cool.
It would be cool. So, Ultimates number 12. We both loved it. We both love this series. I do think at times it can the bigger grand things with the Maker, with time travel and all that stuff can get a little over our heads, can get a little crazy, can get a little weird, little sci-fi. You know
Speak
I
for
hate time
yourself, man.
travel. Look, I hate time travel, but I think in this regard, it's just working for me because it's the Ultimate Universe. It's this new Ultimate Universe, and you're dealing with the Maker, and you got to think outside the box times 12 against him. So crazy, crazy, crazy things going on in there. Absolute Flash number 3, written by Jeff Lemire, artist Nick Robles, colorist Adriano Lucas, letterer Tom Napolitano, editors Ash Padilla, Andrew Marino, Katie Kubert, and Chris Conroy. TJ, have you checked out this issue yet?
Unfortunately, no. It slipped past. I'm
Okay.
going to read it. I have it on my polls. I just didn't get around to it this week.
I think this is my favorite issue of this series, and spoilers, I suppose, if you look at the cover, whatever, if you read last issue, you kind of see where this is going. I said we have new partners in crime. We have a unexpected alliance with Wally West. And also, this is kind of the conclusion of the first arc. The first arc is an origin story. It's a 3-issue origin story. This is issue 3. This feels like this is the conclusion to that. And Wally and little monkey Grodd teaming up here. The Rose sent Grodd out to kind of handle Wally. Wally and Grodd had a little psychic kind of like connection between the two. They both suffered. They both lost their mother. That was the big thing that really like connected those two. And it's just Grodd, Wally, same. I'm a sucker, TJ. I'm a sucker for a little animal friend. I'm a sucker for a little animal friend that you can have as a companion. And it's Grodd, and it's a monkey Grodd, not even Gorilla Grodd. It's a little baby monkey Grodd. And he's adorable. And he just wants, like, hugs, which makes me happy.
I think every comic book should have a small little monkey sidekick. I'm a firm believer in
Space
that.
Ghost.
Yeah, I would say shout out
Flash.
Space Ghost, shout out Speed Racer.
Yes.
Every comic and cartoon needs a cartoon sidekick chimp. So I am super excited for that. The first issue I was a little iffy on. Second
Mhm.
issue really kind of kicked up the gear for me. So I'm excited to read this third issue. And like you said, same as you, I'm a sucker for a good monkey sidekick. So if that's going to be our team moving forward, I'm in.
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's monkey sidekick.
Monkey sidekick.
All in.
I don't know if
in.
anyone watched Righteous Gemstones recently, but shout out Dr. Watson as well. That guy is hilarious.
I really like this Absolute Flash. He is a ball of anxiety. He's very young. He just keeps running away from his problems, ran away from a giant explosion that killed Barry Allen. He's just been running ever since. And in this issue, he finally stops running and steps up and punches Cold straight in the face. Picks up a little baby Grodd. He's like, all right, now we're running. Now we're running. Now we go. Great issue. This was kind of a make or break issue for me. I'm not going to lie. This is a little bit of a make or break because there's so many Absolute books. There's so many Ultimate books. I want to have a conversation with you at the end of today's show, if we have time, on Ultimate and Absolute. Because we're starting to get to a point where it's getting a little heavy to carry both of them. You know, we have other books that we read. It's getting a little heavy to carry. Which one we've been enjoying more? I want to have that discussion today. But first, The Incredible Hulk. Number 25 from Philip Kennedy Johnson, artist Nick Klein, colorist Matt Wilson, letterer Corey Pettit, and editors Kaden McGahee and Jordan D. White. TJ, before we get a renumbering on this book, how's it been going? 25 issues in.
Don't even start, dude. If they do that to PKJ, I'm going to freaking riot. But I mean, it's incredible, dude. It's so good. This issue, I really think after we had that interview with PKJ that he wrote this specifically for me, because this is just perfect for me, it is perfect. It is
Thor and Hulk on a cover. I mean, what more can you want?
Not only on the cover, but all throughout the book. And this is another thing I love because I feel like this is a very common thing we see today, and we're actually a good example is a book we'll talk about in a little bit here. But this is not like we're gonna sell this book with the cover sort of thing. Like, no, Hulk and Thor face off here. It is great. It is, and it's so great seeing Nick Klein back on Thor. For those out there who don't know, he was the Thor artist for Donny Cates' series and one of my personal favorite Thor artists. And it was great seeing his Thor back, fighting off against his now legendary Hulk from Kennedy's run. And it's great. Big monster muscle person fighting. We also take some big strides in the plot that is already kind of unfolding with his little sidekick Charlie. So it's like it's a side adventure, but also takes us through into where we're going and like doesn't take us too far away. So yeah, I mean, just 10 out of 10 all across the board. Thank you, Mr. Johnson, for giving me this issue. By far my I mean, I don't want to say my favorite of the series just because it's like I'm saying that because of my bias and selfishness. There's a lot of amazing issues in this run. But yeah, it's great. Even if you're not reading the run, I'd say pick it up just for a cool ass Thor Hulk fight.
Cool Thor Hulk fight. Those are always a good one. Always a good one. Speaking of Donny Cates, this will make you happy. One of my buddies at my comic shop, Nikita, is reading a very special Donny Cates book right now. He's reading his Venom run all the way through.
Everyone, that's essential reading for comic book fans. Everyone should read Donny Cates' Venom.
He's been digging it. He's been loving it. Although, maybe we can we can throw in a little MJ in there too, right?
Dude, get out of here.
He's like, move on.
I'm about to log off right now.
About to do this book by myself. This is The Vision and the Scarlet Witch #1. I was going to go back and count how many actual Scarlet Witch books Steve Orlando has done. We are well into the 20s at this point, maybe almost pushing 30. We're well into the 20s, maybe pushing 30 past that if you're including like some of the Darkhold books that he did well prior to this. This is written by Steve Orlando, artist Lorenzo Tometa, colorist Ruth Redman, letterer Travis Lanham, and editors Sydney Stubbs and Alana Smith. I'm a big Scarlet Witch fan. I don't think that's much of a secret. I really enjoy Marvel's magic side. You can't deal with Marvel's magic side without dealing with the Scarlet Witch herself. And I've gone back and I've read a ton of West Coast Avengers. I gone back and I read all of her solo series, and I adore The Witch's Road. And I've really been enjoying Steve Orlando's take on the Scarlet Witch, from everything it's done with like the last door, the red door, down to her dealing with like Magneto's clone and all that stuff. Gets a little strange. Wanda's a little complicated character. But I really dug this issue. Before I give my full thoughts on this, because TJ, I know you're not fully deep on Scarlet Witch lore, because it can get a little wonky. It can get a little weird. And also Vision lore as well. What did you think about this issue? I know it's a new #1, but it absolutely is a continuation of everything Steve's been doing. What did you think about this issue?
Well, I will say, at least for me, and I'm sure for you too, it did not feel like a #1 at all because, like you said, it literally feels just like this. I forgot what number we were on, but the following issue of the last one we read. But I mean, 2 thumbs up from this guy over here. I love Steve Orlando. I think he's great. Like you said, I may not be, as well versed in the Scarlet Witch lore, but I am very well versed in Steve Orlando's Scarlet Witch. So I think, he's writing her as well as he always has, if not better. And it just, to me, his Wanda is my Wanda. That is the Wanda in the book for me. I just think he just balances all of her personality traits so great. Another thing I loved about this is I feel like, yes, he has written Vision. Vision has been in the Scarlet Witch run before, but I really like that where Steve's getting a chance to actually write Vision, like give him like a meaningful plot storyline as it connects with the Scarlet Witch. And I thought he did that wonderfully. Like, you can see his experience in writing Wanda for so long transfer over into the Vision, at least for me. And I also loved the kind of callback to Vision's series from Tom King that is, everyone pretty much loves. Thought it was a smart move to give us a kind of refresh of what happened there.
Yep.
So, yeah, again, 2 thumbs up from me in both Scarlet Witch and Vision sectors of this book. And I also gotta ask you, I don't know if you know anything. Are the corner boxes back? Are the corner boxes officially back? Because I am loving
a Dodderman thing, baby.
Oh, just Dodderman. I was gonna say I've noticed
Dodderman loves to put the boxes back on there, and I love that he does it.
Yes, Dodderman, and I'll say Mark Brooks does that too, which I also love. But yeah, bring back the corner boxes. Last thing I'll say.
Absolutely. So let me recap everything that's kind of been going on in the Scarlet Witch and Marvel Comics recently and what happens in this issue. So far, like as of recent, we're finally moved on from everything else. We've moved on. She redeemed herself. She is doing her own thing. She is now just trying to help people, everyday people. And she opened up essentially a magic shop, a witchcraft shop in a town called Lockkill, which think of it like if you know the Northeast, like New York area, it's like Poughkeepsie. Along the Hudson, just north of this city, like Poughkeepsie area, that's where like Lockkill is kind of supposed to be. And she helps people out. She has this magical door that anyone who can only be helped by the Scarlet Witch will just kind of like go through if they need her. And it's a very neat creative tool to kind of almost just have like endless plots and stories to go forward that Wanda could just kind of like fix an issue or deal with an issue. Darcy has made her very first appearance in this run. She is Wanda's assistant. Darcy's starting to use a little bit of magic now. Wanda's teaching her kind of a little bit of the basics, which is neat and fun. But what's been going on and where we kind of left off in this last issue prior to this new #1 is that all of a sudden there's a black door that's opened up. And Wanda's just like, what's this bullshit? This is a replica, this is a cheap replica of what I've been doing. This is terrible. And it's kind of the opposite. You go through the door and you see someone who's passed away who you've been longing to see. That's kind of the what's been going on here. So she's trying to find out who is responsible for these black doors. Vision shows up. I know we kind of said our Vision and Wanda back together, not romantically. They have been as like teammates and partners. They're currently like on the same Avengers team together right now, written by Jed McKay, and it's a lot of fun. And they're just mutual teammates. And they have like moments in here where they still show that they have like feelings, but not romantic, but just kind of like a love for each other, respect for each other. You get like that kind of scattered around through here. So Wanda tells Vision, hey, I'll deal with this. You deal with yours. You're a single dad right now. Viv is kind of doing her thing. You deal with your dad. He's like, yeah, fine. I need to go deal with that. He goes to his home in West Virginia, or in Virginia, where he had that entire Vision's book. And all of a sudden, Vision gets stabbed. By who, TJ? By who? The Grim
Reaper.
The grand return of the Grim Reaper. A very complicated character to explain to some, because the Grim Reaper, Eric Williams, is the brother of Simon Williams, the Wonder Man. What do those two have connection with each other? Well, as we know in like the MCU, Vision is a mix of both like what Ultron's body was supposed to be and Jarvis's AI. That's the MCU version of Vision. The comics version of Vision is he is a mix of Jim Hammond's body, the original Human Torch android, and the brain waves of Wonder Man, Simon Williams. So the Grim Reaper, who is the brother of Simon Williams, has always looked at Vision as just like some gross, disgusting, cheap knockoff thing of his brother. They hate each other. Goes back all the way back then. And yes, as Ryan said, perfect timing for his live action debut in the Vision TV series. So we have some fun little things kind of going on in there. Anyway, Grim Reaper kills Vision. And we want to know how we get back to White Vision. Well, Wanda steps in and is just like, nah, bitch, I'm the Scarlet Witch. I'm bringing you back to life. And recreates the White Vision from the dead Vision corpse. And there may be some issues with that going forward. There has been the White Vision previously to this. We're all familiar with it. So who knows what spell she did that she conjured up very last minute to help save Vision. Now, the Grim Reaper is still out there. He created this whole little realm of dead ancestors killing their, offspring, essentially, for souls and all that stuff. Weird magic death things, but very cool. I love the callback to the Grim Reaper. I love the callback to the Woo is in this. Shout out to Woo for Agatha fans, Witch's Road, all that good stuff. A lot of cool callbacks. That's what it's like. I love this about Steve Orlando writing the Scarlet Witch. He very clearly cares about the character, not just showing off powers, showing off that she just conjures up spells that never existed before to help solve a problem, but also go back into her history to bring back some things that would make sense in that moment, to bring in characters that do make sense in that moment. He's done phenomenal with that, so I really enjoyed it. So 2 thumbs up for me. Obviously, we both wish this wasn't a number 1, but it is what it is. And I think, ladies and gentlemen, if you are fans of the Scarlet Witch in the MCU, this is a no-doubter. Just go pick this up. And then it will bring you options to go reread some old things in the past, like from the West Coast Avengers years, with all the weird little things, or go read her solo series. Go read The Witch's Road. Go read all of it. Because Wanda, as complicated as she is, if you kind of like excuse the House of M stuff, very fascinating, very cool character. There you go.
Honestly, as annoying as the new number 1 thing is,
yeah.
as long as Steve keeps writing it, I don't care anymore, because that will be a tragic day. Again, I'm storming the Marvel offices on that one. Please, Marvel, keep Steve on Scarlet Witch as long as he wants to do it.
So just to go into the number 1 thing, I think this is interesting. Stephanie Phillips is fantastic. She's coming to our local Comic-Con, Terrific-Con in Connecticut, which I'm very excited to go to. I'm very excited to see her again. She's very active on TikTok. And I asked her because they are renumbering Spider-Gwen again, like the all new Spider-Gwen. We're renumbering it again. And I asked her, I was like, are you frustrated when these comics get renumbered like this? Like, are you frustrated? And she actually brought up that it seems like the creators have some say in this, where they've asked, like, she's been asked, like, hey, we want to renumber. And she's like, no, not yet, type of thing. I don't want to do it now. So it is interesting. I feel like the creators do, like, not feel, but it sounds like the creators do have some say in
Huh.
that. They may not have final say, but they
We
can
need-
at least like
Yeah.
push back a little bit if they feel like it's not needed yet.
We need to investigate this further. I need more answers. Elaborate, Miss Phillips. Elaborate, please.
A book that hasn't had the need to renumber yet because we're still very early into its run. This is The New Gods, number 6, written by Ram V. Even Kegel on art, colorist Felipe Andrade, letterer Tom Napolitano, and editors James Reed, Rob Levin, and Ben Mears. TJ, for those who don't know, who are the New Gods? What's going on in this book? And why is the Black Racer running?
Dude, it's nuts, man. It's nuts. Shout out Ram V. We talked Eisner nominee this year, and it is a beautiful showcase of DC lore. The New Gods are basically they're what they sound like. They're gods of the DC universe, the opposite of Darkseid and all of his shenanigans on Apocalypse. We know from the Absolute Universe, Darkseid is gone. He is no more, supposedly. And so what does that mean for the New Gods and the gods of Genesis? And so what that means is there is a new god, a new god who has been born that is like crazy powerful than any other of the new gods. And we have our boy, Mr. Miracle, is tasked with saving this kid, whereas his brother, Orion, is tasked with killing this kid, which obviously leads to a big conflict. This issue, though, takes us on a little divergent. We follow the racer as he is racing to try and stop this cataclysmic war that's going to happen on New Genesis. Again, because Darkseid is gone, obviously there's someone who wants to fill that void. And again, this book is a little bit of a denser read. I will say, if you are not like really into like the mythology kind of things, if you don't really know about Kirby's Fourth World, it might be a little much to follow. But I'm loving it. Again, I'm a real big fan of the mythology and all that stuff, so I really love it. But I will highlight, at least for me on this issue in particular, Felipe Andrade's art is amazing in this run. It's almost kind of like a Peach Momoko, like paint almost kind of style. It's very, very good. And seeing the racer kind of fly through these like universes and space and stuff, it's just jaw-dropping splash pages on this one. So yeah, I'm really enjoying the series. I think anyone who likes a little bit more out there, a little bit more big brain concepts, you'll really, really dig this. And I'll also say last issue, we had a little tease of the Justice League. So that's what I was talking about, the issue kind of thing earlier, the cover.
Yep.
This issue does not pay that off really either. I mean, we get more of it. We get more of it. I'd say like the last 3-4 pages, we get the Justice League jumping into action, and it is really, really cool. So it's not a complete bust, but again, it was just like I thought. I was like, after last year, so I'm like, okay, that we're gonna get this story this issue. Nope, the last 2 pages, and we'll finish it next time. But yeah, it's great. I really enjoy it.
At least they didn't put more Justice League on the cover on this one. That would
yes, that would have
been
been
a
just
bait
too
and
much.
switch.
Yeah,
bit of a bait and switch. So there you go. New Gods number 6. TJ still digging at last book of the week from Boom Studios, The Killer Affairs of the State number 2, written by Mads and art from Luc Jacquemont. If you enjoy some, like assassin story, working for a society, very cold, very heartless main character, even if you're kind of like teased with the fact that kids are in danger, and he's still like, my job. And yeah, this is for you. It's pretty straightforward in that way. I wouldn't say anything like too like new or original in that regard, but if you like those deep state assassin stories, the beginning of it is very wordy. It is very heavy on the narrative, and I think that's my biggest ding on this book. But I find what they were saying is fascinating, because it is like kind of like the story of man, where it's, at first we're just trying to survive, then you're trying to expand, and then what happens when you no longer expand? You go into each other, and then it goes deeper, like more narrow, and it's not just each other as a nation, it's each other as a region, then down to as a person. It's like people always just trying to one up each other. It's cool. The art in here from Luke Giacomo, pretty sick. I like the flat colors. Like, I think that's very classic comic book in a way. It almost feels like it's very classic Boom now, where you kind of like have the flat colors, especially in like skin and face and like the surrounding area. The cover of this explains it perfect, like shows it perfectly, where it's pretty detailed. You get nice shadows, good coloring, good shading, but when it comes down to the person, it's very flat. And I actually think for this character shows him very well, because as deep and complex as this world is, he's very like flatline heartbeat. He's very cold. He doesn't really care too much about other than just getting the job done. So if you like those types of stories, if you're into that assassin deep state, yeah, this is for you.
Kind of sounds like that movie from Netflix with Michael Fassbender.
Sounds like a lot of movies.
I don't know what that movie is called. It's literally just him being an assassin like the whole time. It's a good movie though. But I mean, this sounds up my alley. I like stuff like that. I like, good old action movie, good, assassin spy thriller kind of thing. So this sounds right up my alley for sure.
Yep. He goes, he sees these kids, well, I gotta protect these kids. But also fuck them, because I got a job to do. So you guys stay here, I guess, while I go do my job. Does the job, come back. One of the kids dead, and you're just like, oh, well, that sucks.
So fuck them kids.
It's like, oh geez, heartless. But maybe it turns into something where you kind of push it forward. Yeah, the
shout out Ryan
on the comic, so it is related to that. Yeah, little tie-in.
Love it.
Next week's polls, I got a bit of a heavier week. A little bit of a heavier week. Absolute Martian Manhunter, number 3. A book that not just won me, but like sold me last issue. So I'm dying to read this next one. Absolute Wonder Woman, number 8. We have been loving Absolute Wonder Woman. I think it's my favorite Absolute book. Lilith, number 4, Magic, number 5, Minor Arcana, number 7, Superman, number 26, and Ultimate Spider-Man, number 17. I'd say the ones we're absolutely, no pun intended, talking about next week are Martian Manhunter, Wonder Woman, Magic, Ultimate Spider-Man. I'm going to try to throw Lilith in there, and Minor Arcana. Superman will probably leave to the week after for AF. TJ, I know we kind of share similar titles when it comes to the absolutes and ultimates, but what else do you have? And yes, TJ, the pun is always absolutely intended.
Well, besides what you have, we have all the same things, except I also have Avengers number 26, which I don't even remember what's going on in that book. I need to go back.
Black Cat was in it for a while. It was great.
Yeah, I'm up to date. I'm pretty sure. I just don't remember. It's been so long. So Avengers 26, I'm sure it'll be great. And Uncanny X-Men at number 15, another one that I've been loving. Gail Simone. I think Gail Simone just does the best with like the kind of small group of characters. I love it. It's fun. But my most excited is Absolute Martian Manhunter for sure.
Over Wonder Woman, gasp.
I love Wonder Woman too, but we've talked about it. I love the weird stuff, man. I love when we get weird with it, and Martian hits that vein perfectly for me.
I want to continue that conversation, TJ. I didn't plan this, but we have about like 10 minutes or so. I want to have this conversation finally. I'm glad you're here for it because you've been reading both Ultimate and Absolute. Let's have it.
Too much.
We have both been enjoying deeply, greatly, fantastically, absolutely, ultimately, if you will, both the Absolute and the Ultimate lines from DC.
Too much.
But genuinely, if you had to pick one so far, and I think we're at a spot now where we can genuinely start comparing the two. Because we have like Batman's on issue 8, Wonder Woman's on 8. We have, I feel like, almost more Absolute titles and Ultimate titles at this point. We're getting close. I think we may be at more now, officially.
Say close? I don't think they've hit it yet, though.
I'm saying in terms of like total titles, not number of issues.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm trying to think.
Because we have 6 now from Absolute, and then I think we're like at 5 or 6 from the Ultimate Universe. So we're pretty close on number of titles from each. Anywho, which have you been enjoying more at this point? If you had to pick just one, and I don't want to, like, I hate to be like, you had to pick one, but like, which are you enjoying more? When you get a book next week, like we have Absolute Wonder Woman, Absolute Martian Manhunter, and Ultimate Spidey next week. Which one are you looking forward the most to?
Honestly, that's such a hard question. I'm glad that we are reconvening on this because we talked like early when this all started about how it wasn't fair to compare them yet.
Yes.
But I think you're right. We are getting to a point where it is getting fair. I will say also a little caveat. I'm almost positive Ultimate still has more issues than Absolute. So they have a little bit more story going with them.
But in terms of titles, I think Absolute has more titles.
I would say titles, they're either equal or Absolute might have squeaked past with the new Flash. But I think this is going to surprise you. And it surprises me, honestly, saying it out loud. And I haven't really come to this conclusion until just now as we've been talking about it. But I honestly think I have to go Absolute. I have to go Absolute. And I'm a Marvel guy. So and I'll give you my reasoning. And my reasoning is, which I love both. So this isn't criticism on either one. But I feel like for me, the difference between the Absolute Universe and the Ultimate Universe is the Ultimate Universe is changing and really drastically changing the universe itself, and therefore the characters inadvertently get changed with that. In my opinion, it feels like the Absolute Universe is a true like reinvention of the character itself. And as opposed to like, yes, we know this universe is with dark side energy, but really, at least right now, we have purely been focusing on the character and how this character is drastically different. I feel like in the Ultimate Universe, the character is different, but it's more so just by a product of the different universe that it is put in, which to me makes Absolute squeeze past just a hair. Because I mean, like the Absolute Batman, Absolute Wonder Woman, when I think of that compared to Ultimate Spider-Man or Ultimate Captain America, while I love those titles, Ultimate Peter Parker is very much like kind of the same as 616, and that's why we love him. But I think that's the real difference for me, and that's kind of why I think, at least right now, I got to give the win to Absolute on my end.
I really love that because I've been saying for a while that the Ultimate Universe is organized evil and that the Absolute Universe is chaotic evil. And I think if you look at it very like broadly between the two, that is a good a good thing to kind of put them up with. But what you just said with what's the difference between the two? Like, what's the difference between Ultimate Spider-Man and Spider-Man? What's the difference between Absolute Batman and Batman? Is in the Ultimate Universe, the setting has changed that character. like the world around them has changed it, has changed Peter, has changed Hank Pym,
Yeah.
has changed that. In the absolute universe, it's something about them that has changed. It's their personal setting has changed. Their personal scenarios have changed. How does that change that character? I think that is a fascinating take. And I really think is a beautiful and correct take, honestly, too.
Thank you.
That being said, I'm still very 50-50 on it, because if I had to pick, like, what's my favorite book out of any of those two lineups, it is still easily, by far, I say it without a doubt in my body, Ultimate Spider-Man. And I think the highs of Ultimate Spider-Man are really carrying a lot of the Ultimate Universe.
I can agree with that.
I think the Ultimates is a solid number 2, and so far, I think it's very young. So far, I think Ultimate Wolverine is 3, maybe 2. Those are the big 3 in that. Ultimate X-Men, we both enjoy. It's just, it's so isolated. It's so different that, like, I kind of like need to sit down and be like, all right, what happened last issue? All right, let's go into this. Ultimate Black Panther, I like the ideas of it. It's a very slow burn. But when it comes to the absolute Batman, and yes, like the difference is a little bit like, Reg just said, like, Batman, like, he's poor in this universe. It's more than just like he's poor in this universe, because what does that do to him, right? It makes him grow up in Crime Alley. It makes him have those friends with, like, Killer Croc and Two-Face and Penguin,
and also I will say it's
Catwoman
a big difference. Yeah. It's a big difference from, like, just being poor, because I mean, we've seen Bruce lose his money many, many times. It's not. I'd say there's a big difference from just, like, being poor and, like, growing up without money and, like, growing up without resources, and like that is your life. And I think that is that's like why it's different than just, like I said, when we've seen Bruce Wayne lose his fortune before. Like, even when he's lost his money, he is still a person that has grown up in wealth, has grown up within the highest circles of Gotham. But like you said, bring him to Crime Alley, that is just a completely different perspective on life. And like it just changes everything.
No, for sure. So, I mean, that's like the Batman book is not even like my favorite absolute book. I love, like, the issues when we go back and we explore a young Bruce and we see kind of like what made him him. Those are my favorite issues of that. Like, they're like easily my favorite issues of that. So far, Absolute Wonder Woman from all the Absolute lines is my favorite, because I think what Kelly does, not just with like Wonder Woman lore, but also like the mythology, like bringing that in, like, what do we know about Wonder Woman and her Greek mythology already? But then you twist it on its head and say she wasn't growing up in the Mascara. She's not from paradise. She's from hell. How does that change her as like a person, as a character, and what she's grown up with? And we've seen it already with like her relationship with like Hades and everything. And it's so cool. Like, that one's, I think, my number 2 favorite if I had to start like actually comparing them. The other ones, like when we're into like the Green Lanterns and the Flashes and the Martian Manhunters, too young for me to like really start comparing at that point. But we love what we're seeing with Manhunter. Flash won me over, I think, officially this issue, sold me on it. So I'm on for the ride. Green Lantern has like one more issue for me.
Yeah, Green Lantern, next issue of Green Lantern's a make or break for me.
Yeah. So I feel like each of them they're so head to head. And I think
they literally are.
I think that's what makes it the most exciting, and just the most exciting as a comic book fan. And thank God for these two. Because, like, outside of like, maybe the Scarlet Witch book, or for you, a Hulk book, right? Outside, or for me, like a Nightwing book that came out this week, that is also a delight. The main line from both just is not like doing it for me. The Superman stuff is cool.
Yeah.
I like what they're doing with Superman, at least on DC's side. I think if I had to compare mainline DC to mainline Marvel, mainline DC is running away with it. Like, not even close. They're just full on running away with it. So you have that, because mainline Marvel for the most part, like I'm picking up a handful of things. Yeah, just a handful, but I'll pick up all the Ultimate in all the Absolute titles so far. So thank God for those. I think I'm going to be interested to see when we go back to this conversation, maybe at the end of the year.
We definitely have to reconvene like every couple months or so, and we should
Yeah.
keep score. Honestly, like every time we talk about this, which one did we pick?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
I
Honestly, I'm a
score,
little
per
upset
se.
with you because you didn't tell me I could pick both. You picked 50-50. You took the easy way out.
Well, no.
I
I'm
had to pick
picking
one.
I'm still picking Ultimate. Is I think what I'm going to go down to.
Okay.
Just because.
I love that.
Just because Ultimate Spider-Man, Wolverine, and the Ultimates, that big three on that is full on carrying, like S tier books pretty much every single month from those. And I love it. The Absolute Superman, most of the time it hits. Absolute Wonder Woman hits every time. Absolute Batman, most of the time it hits. And then we're still pretty young on the other stuff.
Who would have thought that I don't know, I wouldn't have, that you would have picked Ultimates and I picked Absolute. It's like, that's crazy to me.
I think something interesting that Ryan brought up on the last point. He says, as an outsider, I'm more drawn to the Absolute universe as a whole because it feels more reader friendly.
I think I would agree with that, Ryan.
For the most part, yes. For the most part, yes. Because honestly, like outside of that first issue of Ultimate Spidey, like you're flying, you're cooking with that. That's a very reader friendly book. So far, Ultimate Wolverine, I think, is like easily the most reader friendly because that's quite literally like, what if we just made Wolverine the Winter Soldier? And you just go from there.
I totally agree, but I think I get what Ryan's saying in the sense of like if I'm putting my mind in, like, I don't know anything. I feel like if I looked at the Ultimates, I would, like you said, I'd be like, oh shit, Wolverine's Winter Soldier, like that's crazy. But then I would see like the I would be like, I have no, like, what the hell is a maker? What's going on? But then if I look over at DC, I'm like, oh, Batman's fucking huge. Like, okay, and Wonder Woman is a witch. You kind of get it immediately, and I feel like if I were a new fan, that would make me feel like there's less homework to it than like, oh yeah, this is a whole new universe with a whole new Wolverine and a whole new whatever. I think Absolute is an easier sell on the face.
I think part of that too is Darkseid doesn't have as much of a direct hand in this universe just yet. It's more of like an omnipresent feeling rather than like the maker did this and the maker did this and he used his time travel box to do this, and this.
Exactly.
Right?
So I think if you were a new reader, like I just lost my train of thought. God damn it.
If you're a new reader, it's easier to go into a universe where it's just like, this is just a topsy-turvy universe where things are just a little fucked up, rather than like, here's the Ultimate universe where you kind of need to know where you kind of need to know who this guy is and how this happened. And it's not the old Ultimate universe, it's different. Yeah. So I get it.
And I remember what I was going to say now. I was going to say that for a new reader, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a lot of people out there reading some of the Absolute titles that don't even know of like the whole like Absolute all in like different universe. I'm saying people who maybe aren't like very into comics but are like checking out some of this stuff. I wouldn't be surprised, like I said, if they didn't even know of all this separate universe stuff and they could fully enjoy and just have a great ass time with the book.
Yeah, for sure. Well, that's a discussion I wanted to have for a while. Thank you for having it with me. We'll have it again later this year, maybe after that 6 month when the maker comes out. We will see. But thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Thank you all for tuning in live and on demand. Make sure you want to let us know what books you want us to talk about next week. And as always, make sure you go support your local comic shops. As always, everyone, until next time, thanks for tuning in.